Miriam had always been a carefree woman, someone who embraced her confidence through fashion. She loved experimenting with different styles, feeling empowered by the way clothes accentuated her beauty. As a single mother raising her 5-year-old son, Toby, she often found herself multitasking, rushing through her morning routine while ensuring he was fed and dressed for the day. It became second nature for her to change in front of him, never thinking much about it. To her, he was just a child, too young to understand or care about such things. Toby, however, was an observant child. He noticed everything his mother did, the way she selected her outfits, the precision with which she applied her makeup, the satisfied smile she gave her reflection in the mirror. At first, he asked innocent questions, curious about why she took so much time getting ready. "Mommy, why do you wear those?" he once asked, pointing at her high heels. "Because they make me feel good," she answered with a chuckle. She never considered how deeply these moments were embedding themselves in his developing mind. As Toby grew older, subtle signs of concern began to surface. He started expressing an unusual fascination with clothing, particularly women's attire. He loved playing with his mother's scarves, pretending to put on lipstick with a crayon, and twirling around in oversized shirts as if they were elegant dresses. At first, Miriam found it harmless, even adorable, but soon, his comments became unnerving. He would scrutinize the outfits of women they passed in the mall, remarking on their dresses and how they should pose in front of a mirror like mommy. Then came the family gathering that changed everything. Toby, now 8 years old, approached his aunt with a bright smile and said, "You should dress like my mom. She looks so pretty when she puts on her clothes in front of the mirror." The room fell silent, a thick wave of discomfort settling over the guests. His aunt shot Miriam a questioning look, and Miriam's stomach twisted into knots. She realized in that moment how deeply ingrained her habits had become in her son's perception of the world. That night, Miriam sat Toby down for a difficult conversation. She gently explained that dressing was a private matter, something people did in their own spaces, and that it wasn't appropriate to comment on such things so openly. Toby nodded, but his young mind struggled to grasp the gravity of the situation. As years passed, the consequences of those early habits became more apparent. By the time Toby reached adolescence, he had difficulty understanding boundaries, especially with women. He would make observations about his classmates' appearances, sometimes in ways that made them uncomfortable. His teachers called Miriam in for meetings, expressing concerns over his lack of awareness regarding personal space and privacy. Despite her efforts to correct his understanding, she knew it was an uphill battle against deeply embedded perceptions. The realization hit her hardest when Toby, now a young man in his 20s, visited her for dinner one evening. As they sat together, reminiscing about his childhood, he suddenly asked, "Mom, do you ever regret anything about how you raised me?" Miriam hesitated, feeling a lump form in her throat. "Yes," she admitted softly. "I regret not realizing sooner how my actions shaped your view of the world. I should have been more careful about what I exposed you to." Toby nodded thoughtfully. "I think I get it now. It took me years to understand privacy and boundaries the hard way." Miriam reached across the table and took his hand in hers. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. If I could go back, I'd do things differently." He smiled faintly. "Me too, Mom. But we learn." Regret lingered in Miriam's heart, but so did hope. Mistakes had been made, but life was a continuous journey of growth. What mattered now was how they moved forward, together.